it is for me to be back in the Bronx. And how fired up is Borough President Ruben Diaz today? Is he fired up?
He's always fired up.
He is a young, rising star. He is doing a great job. Give him another round of applause. I'll tell you why he's also fired up. He's feeling the pressure. You know why he's feeling the pressure? He is the co-chairman of my campaign. And he's got to deliver the votes for me, especially from the Bronx. Now, he's got even more pressure because I know the Bronx. I know the Bronx. Remember a fellow named Mario Cuomo? You remember Mario Cuomo?
Yes.
1977, Mario Cuomo is running for mayor of New York. I'm the campaign manager for the Bronx. So I know the Bronx. And I know how many votes I got out of the Bronx for Mario Cuomo, and Ruben Diaz better get more votes for me than I got for Mario Cuomo because he lost. Give Ruben Diaz another round of applause. You're my longtime friend, a great assemblyman, Jeff Dinowitz. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, how about that Jeff Dinowitz bringing his son, Eric Dinowitz, into the same business?
Gee.
Father and son in the same business. Can you believe that, Ruben? Father and son in the same business? I don't know what that's about. Following in your father's footsteps or something, huh? You want to be an assemblyman one day? I don't know. I can't even imagine father and son in the same business. Another round of applause for Assemblyman Jeff Dinowitz. Carl Hasty is a phenomenal assemblyman. He's a great county chair. You know, two toughest jobs they have in the world. Number one, trying to bring peace to the Middle East. Number two, being the county chair of the Bronx. Carl Hasty has been a longtime friend and colleague of mine. Whenever times are tough in Albany and we're having a bad day, Carl always has that positive energy about him. He's always got that energy that brings you up. He's always got that smile. He's been a great man when it comes to vision, when it comes to always finding a positive light at the end of the tunnel. Carl Hasty. Let's give him a round of applause. Kathy Hochul, I am so excited about Kathy Hochul. She is going to be the first Democratic lieutenant governor female in over 30 years. 30 years. Kathy is a former congresswoman, ran a very tough district to win the Congress race. She knows Washington. She knows how Washington works. That's vitally important for state government because we do a lot with the federal government. We need a lot with the federal government. She represented Erie County, so she knows how county government works. She did a lot of liaison work with the state. And I'll tell you something about being a lieutenant governor or a governor or an assemblyman. You need to know what you're talking about to do the job, and experience matters. Experience matters. People say, well, I don't have any experience, but I think I could be lieutenant governor. I don't have any experience, but I think I could be a heart surgeon. Anyone here want to be my first patient? Yeah. Well, I don't want anyone experimenting with the lieutenant governorship of the state of New York either. And Jeff Klein, let me say this, because it's all been said. Jeff and I have spent a lot of time together over the past 4 years. I've spent more time with Jeff than I have with my kids over the past 4 years. He is part of the leadership, so we decide everything together, whatever it is. We decide together. And I know Jeff not just in a political way. You spend that much time with a person, under really difficult circumstances, you get to know the person. The good, the bad, the weaknesses, the strength, you really get to know what a person is about. And Jeff Klein is an extraordinary public servant, and we're lucky to have him in the Senate. And the story of New York is simple, and you heard it. 4 years ago, this state was in trouble. 4 years ago, we had a $10 billion deficit. One of the highest deficits in the history of the state of New York. 4 years ago, people thought the best of New York was behind them. People were talking about leaving New York. Companies were talking about leaving New York. People were talking about leaving New York. That just the dysfunction, the scandals, it didn't work anymore. Taxes were too high. It was too hard to run a business. There were too many regulations. People were giving up on New York. They thought New York was about yesterday, not about tomorrow. And that's the situation we walked into. Democrats and Republicans wouldn't work with each other. They wouldn't talk to each other. You know how you see in Washington, D.C. now you have gridlock? Nothing happens, nothing gets passed. The country's frozen. Washington didn't discover gridlock. Albany had gridlock before Washington ever thought of it. They caught it from Albany. And they think they had gridlock. We had gridlock New York style. We had an angry kind of gridlock. We had a lot of cursing in our gridlock. You know, we had not New York style gritty gridlock. And all these problems, and the Senate wouldn't talk to the Assembly wouldn't talk to the Senate, and everybody's fighting with each other, and people are moving. And that's what we walked into. I remember when I was running for governor, some people would say, "Are you sure you really want this job?" Some days I wasn't so sure. That's what we walked into. And we took the bull by the horns, and we have fundamentally changed the direction of this state 180 degrees in 4 years. And this is a different New York today than it was 4 years ago. We took a $10 billion deficit, and we turned it 4 years later into a $4 billion surplus. We took a state that had 700,000 unemployed, and we created 500,000 new jobs. We're the #2 state in the nation for creating new jobs. We had a state that was charging taxes so high it was the tax capital of the nation, and chasing people out of the state, and we cut taxes for the middle class to the lowest level since 1953. That's what we did. And then we said in New York we have another burden. Not just do we have to get the economy running, but New York was the progressive capital of the nation. That's our history, that's our legacy. That we did the progressive things first, and the other states then looked to us. And we came up with the new ideas and the great ideas, and we took the tough problems and we solved them first. That was New York. More sophisticated, more intelligent, more complex than any other state. We were the first. And we said 4 years ago, we're going to be the first again. And we said, let's take those tough issues and solve them and show leadership. Let's take the issue of gun violence, where too many innocent people have died, and let's pass sensible gun control once and for all. And don't tell me it can't be done. I'll show you it can be done. And that law is going to save lives. We took the issue of marriage equality. Was not about the first word, marriage. I was never advocating marriage, give as marriage. I'm divorced. It was about the second word. It was about equality. And you know what we believe in New York? Equality for everyone. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your religion. I don't care your race. I don't care your income. You are treated equally. And if you are straight, you can get married. And if you are gay, you can get married. Because we believe in equality for all. We have done a lot of great work. Performance in education, universal pre-K, which is going to revolutionize education for an entire generation. But we have more to do. Tremendous 4 years. We got more done than I thought we could get done in 4 years. But you ain't seen nothing yet. We are just starting. And we have to stay on this track. Because you're right, we're not going back to the old days. We have to keep creating jobs because jobs are opportunity. We have to keep the taxes down because that's bringing us more businesses and more jobs. We have Startup New York zones, which are zero tax zones, which are attracting companies from all across the nation to come to New York. We have to keep those taxes down to make that happen. We have to keep property taxes down, keep income taxes down to make that happen. And we have to keep our progressive tradition. We have to pass the DREAM Act because we believe in immigration and we believe in immigrants. And we're going to make that statement as New Yorkers. We're going to pass something called the Women's Equality Act that is going to resonate all across this nation. The Women's Equality Act is just that. It says women should be treated equally in this state and in this country. It also says, you know what? We don't treat women equally. As obnoxious a statement as that is as true as it is. And the Women's Equality Act is a Bill of Rights for women. It says women have been treated differently, and it's going to stop, and it's going to stop in New York, and that's then going to resonate across this nation. Women get paid 77 cents to a man's dollar. And you know what? It's wrong. And do we believe a woman should earn $1 for a man's dollar? And do we believe in pay equity? Of course we do. And that's what the Women's Equality Act is all about. And we believe women should not be victims of discrimination, and we believe women should be free from sexual harassment, and we believe women who are victims of domestic violence should be protected, and we are against human trafficking, and we're going to stop it here in the state of New York. And we believe in a woman's right to choose, and we want it in the law, and we want to protect it. And even today, you have ultra-conservatives in this state who not only oppose a woman's right to choose, they oppose Roe v. Wade, which was the Supreme Court that established the woman's right to choose over 40 years ago, and they want to overturn Roe v. Wade, and we say, not now in New York, not in our lifetime. We're going to protect a woman's right to choose, and that's the Women's Equality Act. These things matter, my friends. Our position on Israel and our support of Israel matters. Our support and belief in immigration matters. Our support about violence in education matters. And we have to make sure this state keeps going forward, and that doesn't just happen. That happens because we have the right people in the right places. We have the right people in the Assembly, and we have the right people in the Senate, and we have the right leaders. And that's why we need Jeff Klein in the leadership position in Albany. That's why I support him. That's why we have to elect him. That's why on Tuesday we're going to